Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Morning Update live on NTN. I'd like to thank you so much for joining. My name is Jessie Leonce. We're coming to you live from the NTN studios, the GIS studios, from the Information Command Center. If you're watching on air online, a special good morning to you, residents here in St. Lucia, as well as St. Lucians in the diaspora, looking to keep abreast as to what is happening here on island COVID-19 wise. We came out of the weekend with new cases of COVID-19 being registered. I'm going to get into the details of that in just a moment, but we are at number 257 in terms of the number of COVID-19 cases that have been registered, bringing the total number of individuals who are now being treated, patients in active care, to 146. We're going to tell you a little bit about these individuals, where they are from, these patients are from, and what this means for our country in terms of the response to the coronavirus. We hope that you are continuing to observe the very basic protocols, and we hope that all sectors are continuing to adhere and comply because it is very serious at this point in time. You know, I was just sitting down here before the live contemplating the time when we were in a better position in terms of our response to COVID-19, and when we didn't have any fatalities registered on island, and when we didn't have as many cases. And, you know, the call then was very strong as it is today in terms of us maintaining and keeping the rate of transmission as low as possible coming from the CMO. You know, that even though we were, you know, in this enviable position of having no fatalities and very low numbers and being able to reopen our country, having a framework in place and being able to go through with the plan of reopening our society, there was still the urgent plea for individuals to adhere to the protocols. And we've so far seen that certain individuals, through their own conviction and by law enforcement being more present and enforcing the protocols, especially in the capital, we have seen a great improvement in terms of the response in adherence, in terms of adhering to the protocols. But still, there is need for us to continue to adhere to the protocols. And I'm not talking about, you know, the work from home policies and all that such. I'm talking about the three very important infection prevention measures, guidelines that has been put out by the Ministry of Health, and that is the use of the mask, observing the 6-foot distance, and frequent washing of hands. If not, the use of hand sanitizer. If you're not near a faucet, you don't have access to soap, the frequent use of hand sanitizer. And that is what is going to be our defense. It's what has been our defense from potentially greater numbers. And this is just an appeal to going out to everybody, if you've not yet done so, to please adhere to these infection prevention guidelines, because they really do go a long way in reducing the risk of transmission. Coming off of Friday, we had the NEMAC meeting and subsequently a press conference to announce what were the conclusions of that meeting in terms of, you know, engaging with the stakeholders and trying to get an understanding of where St. Lucia was since the stricter protocols, the strengthened protocols, were instituted on the 16th of November. And authorities are very much concerned, and I think this needs to be communicated and conveyed to the general population, that the rate at which we're continuing to register cases of COVID-19, there is need for, you know, an extension of the protocols going into the Christmas season. And so we have the protocols taking effect tomorrow and going into the next fortnight, I believe, yes, the next fortnight, to try to reduce the risk of transmission as much as possible. And this is in an effort, the same effort from the 16th of November, to reduce unnecessary social interactions here on island. The effort is to keep you at home as much as possible, to keep you around your family unit and not around other people right now. I know it is the festive season, and many people are would have typically gone house to house, celebrating with different relatives from different households, and the urge to go everywhere, sightseeing and visiting the malls to have pictures with Santa. We know these things will not be obtained in this for this season. We do hope that individuals don't take it upon themselves to go to the bars, to go and congregate in certain areas, make their own outings, with persons that are not from their households at this point in time. We're dealing with something that is very grave. The COVID-19 situation has claimed lives across the world, and many persons are suffering in hospitals and even at home, where health systems are inundated at this time in many countries. We hope that you are understanding what is going on right now. We hope that you are understanding what is happening. We hope that everyone can play their part, adhere to the protocols, keep abreast as to what the protocols are that have been extended. So if you weren't aware of what these protocols were when they were instituted on 16th November, and for the 2 weeks that followed, we hope that at least today and going on, you will go onto the GIS website, you will go onto our the Government of St. Lucia Facebook page, the Government of St. Lucia YouTube channel, and you could go and see what these protocols are, and to ensure that your business is in compliance, to ensure that the businesses in your community are in compliance, the gas stations, the corner shops, the bars in your area are in compliance. I just want to go over what these protocols are. So you could always use this live broadcast. It will be saved onto our Facebook page and our YouTube channel as reference. If you cannot trace the NEMAC meeting from Friday, it's also there as well. And also our week in review, which aired on Saturday, where we went over the protocols. Again, today, the protocols are coming from the Prime Minister: continuing to work from home where possible. All agencies and businesses are being asked to continue to implement a blended service operations approach where possible for the employees. Additionally, where possible, there should be a complete move to staff and board meetings being held virtually or on online platforms in general. Separate provisions apply for sectors, for example, the essential services, construction, manufacturing, call centers, etc. It is understandable that there are some businesses that will not be able to have their staff, or a good bit of their staff, work from home. There are some businesses that require you to be present in your office or present at the establishment. But there are many jobs that are being done where individuals can work from home, and we know that this hardware and software needs to be taken into consideration, what accommodations this person might have, the employee might have at home. But we do hope that employers can explore all avenues where possible for their staff to remain at home, because this is another aspect of another group of individuals who need to commute and interact with persons that are outside of their house, their home unit, and we don't want this to be done unnecessarily at this time. Continuation of limited business operating hours. All business operations and commercial activities must end by 9 p.m. daily, as guided by the COVID-19 Prevention and Control Act. Separate provisions apply for sectors, example, essential services, construction, manufacturing, etc. So there will be limited business operating hours, and this continues from the 16th November protocols that were instituted. And in general, the commercial activities must end by 9 p.m. Please ensure that your establishment is in compliance. We are going to continue with more of the protocols. We are due for a break at this point in time. When we come back, we talk about social gathering restrictions, what obtains for religious services and the churches, what obtains for the gyms and sporting activities. Stay with us. If you're not yet sure, stay tuned to get a hold of what obtains for at least the next fortnight. Stay with us.
St. Lucia ka registre vermin corona ek I ka fait mouvement ek an chay vitesse tan chaque canef ka kouye pour vigilance publique la fait wolo parler en place publique qu'on bol en main, base, ti boutique, changer, distance sociale, 6 pieds, hot yon à l'autre. I ka travail tan, si ou senti ko pas cordial, quarantine ko, pas en contact et puis l'autre, en cas où te toi pe exposé. Si on est couillé, free one ou ben n'importe clinique yo pou. Les pays a dimi à clé, ça veut dire les supermarkets, pharmacies et puis ATM, yo accessible avant cette souhait. Pays à clé en plein, ça veut dire tout bagay fermé à 24 heures. Servi protocole comme sorti par bureau indication santé. Nous tout ensemble, ça sauver vermine corona. Si nous tous servi Jidla à toutes les.
Together let us win this war. Say Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow. For a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one, and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies. When her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul. And her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is Saint Lucia. Let her inspire you.
What does coronavirus have in common with love? Both are highly contagious. Spread love, not the virus. Like you, COVID-19 loves a lime. Beach, river, or fed. Coronavirus is like these people who track every lime just to invade. The best way to put off invaders? Cancel the lime. Spread love, not the virus. Keep you and your crew corona-free. Live to lime another day.
Together let us win this war. Say Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We are live on NTN this morning. We hope you are doing well this morning. You're in good spirits despite the circumstances of COVID-19 around us. We're seeing cases increasing. We had over the weekend 6 new cases on the 28th, that was Saturday, and 5 new cases on the 29th, Sunday. Going to get into that in just a moment, but what's most important is that you adhere to the protocols and the infection prevention guidelines. Meantime, we just came off of the break speaking on the protocols that have been extended in order to help curb the spread of COVID-19 here on island. And these extended protocols will take effect on 1st December and to go on for the next fortnight. Came off of the limited business operating hours, so all commercial operations must end by 9 p.m. daily. Of course, exceptions apply for certain sectors, essential services, construction, etc. Social gathering restrictions, and I think this is one of the critical aspects of these protocols, as the effort is to reduce on unnecessary social interaction beyond your home unit. Mass crowd events and social gatherings are strictly prohibited, including permissions for loud music. In public and private settings, individuals are encouraged to limit their contact to their immediate households. No provisions will be made for celebrations, receptions, or parties of any kind, including birthdays, retirements, weddings or funeral receptions, wakes, boat rides, beach picnics. None of that is allowed right now, as there is a greater effort ongoing to reduce transmission of the coronavirus on island. And definitely we understand that persons want to celebrate these things, and we know that we're in the festive season, but there is a greater effort at play right now. And while there are no allowances for receptions or parties or celebrations of any kind, the religious activities, religious rites like wedding services, funeral services, these will continue to be allowed, christenings as well, but it will be limited to 25 individuals, and that's inclusive of observers and the service leaders. The churches must also strictly enforce exit plans for their church, for their building, in case of all the individuals actually showing up to service. All daily or regular church and religious services are permitted in accordance with social distancing protocols. Religious institutions may carry out services according to the square footage of the church, and this is guided by each institution's guidelines and protocols approved by the Ministry of Health. We know that previously, earlier on this year, all businesses, all institutions had to submit their plans based on their space, the outlay of their buildings and so on. And so by this time, churches should certainly know how many individuals they can have per square footage of their institutions. The weddings, the funerals, the christenings are allowed. Certainly these religious rites are allowed, but the celebration of them, the receptions and so on, are not allowed at this time. In terms of continued restrictions for the alcohol sales, consumption of alcohol is not allowed on premises of the bars and so on. The standalone bars must close at 4 p.m. Takeaway policy stays in effect for bars until 4 p.m. Absolutely no gathering inside or outside of the bars. Strict measures of enforcement will be taken. The sale of sealed alcohol is permitted at supermarkets, mini marts, and gas stations, but even there, you should not be consuming that alcohol. You should not be congregating by the gas station with, long lost friends and whatnot, and having a drink there. Restrictions on all sporting activity, gyms included, all team and high contact sporting activities inclusive of indoor and outdoor trainings, local competitions, gym workouts or social activities are prohibited for the given time period. Provisions apply for individual or immediate family households to exercise in a safe, open air space, and these activities may include running or walking, cycling, home gyms, yoga, etc. Special permission has been granted, however, for training athletes requiring one-on-one training, coaching, or training for non-contact sports. Special permission granted for one-on-one personal training. Special considerations for the education sector. Schools remain closed. The compounds of schools remain closed and exclusively operational via multimedia modules. However, there have been special allowances that have been made to facilitate the following. And this is primarily individuals who have to prepare for, students who have to prepare for major examinations. That is, students of tertiary level schools in medical and natural science programs that require laboratory and practical evaluation. And students of secondary schools in Form 4 and Form 5 who are preparing for regional and international academic evaluations. That's CSEC, CXE, students of primary school in grade 6 that are preparing for national and regional academic evaluations, particularly the Common Entrance Exam. In announcing the protocols, the Prime Minister has called on all St. Lucians to play their part in obeying the decisions and encouraging the population to continue wearing a protective mask, practicing social distancing, and ensuring regular sanitization. Now, I just want to go to a point of the NEMAC meeting where we had Milton Daisy speaking on the measures and the work of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force in ensuring compliance with the laws of St. Lucia and all the stipulated protocols in country to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force did indicate that on Friday, that was 27th November, it intercepted 2 vessels attempting to enter the country illegally, and these vessels were subsequently impounded. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, Milton Daisy, is urging individuals to discontinue this practice and is calling on members of the public to report any illegal entrance into the country. And now, you know, I've heard, and I mentioned this on Saturday, I've heard that many persons are saying, you know, but how could you say that COVID-19 is coming back door? I don't think anyone is establishing and concretizing that persons are bringing COVID-19 from back door. The argument from the health officials is that there are concerns that it can come from back door, because one of the major areas is a nearby hotspot to us, and so we don't know if COVID is not coming, but we don't even know if it is coming either. And so we need to proceed with the thought that perhaps it is, and so all precaution needs to be taken to ensure that this illegal activity is stamped out. So, of course, the fact that it is illegal in the first place renders the whole argument inert. So that point was made by the Deputy Commissioner of Police, intercepting 2 vessels attempting to enter the country illegally, and these vessels were impounded. The DCP also noted that there have been several breaches in the law and the protocols, and he explained that in instances where a number of warnings had been issued, the businesses were shut down and individuals were arrested. Now, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is one of the stakeholders of the NEMAC meeting, and this is certainly a reason why we've seen the continuation of the protocols to being enforced here in St. Lucia because of the level of compliance. We have many observers, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, we have health officials, we have other stakeholders who are all coming together in this NEMAC meeting to make a decision. And the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, being one of them, you know, has indicated that there is a level of non-compliance which continues to this day. So we go to our clip from Milton Daisy speaking on this.
There have been instances where at least 15 persons have been found in bars that are closed from the front, but the back door is either halfway opened or persons are inside carrying out activities. Now, you'd realize that as part of the protocol, bars were only supposed to have been opened up to 4 p.m. daily, and bars with grocery shops or restaurants and so on had to be, the closure time was 9 p.m. We have had instances where at 11:45, almost midnight, police have to be closing bars.
And that was Milton Daisy, Deputy Commissioner of Police. Now, remember, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force indicated that they were in the process of recruiting wardens to police the various communities to ensure that these communities' members were all in compliance. The police force has indicated now that it will be employing what they call protocol enforcement officers to assist in ensuring compliance to the COVID-19 protocols. The force received over 500 applications, and on Friday had selected the final cut. These individuals are scheduled to commence training next week, that is this week, following which they would begin their duties throughout the various districts under the supervision of a senior police officer.
You would appreciate that to have persons new coming into the job, that they would need some briefings, they would need some training in terms of writing reports, that is, writing station diaries, the mode of patrol, and so on. During the initial training, which we are expecting to be at least a week, the officers would be paired with senior officers during patrol so that they would be acquainted with patrol procedures, what is required of them, and so on. After which the officers would be good to be on the road performing the duties.
That was the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Milton Daisy, there speaking, giving an update from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force on the response to COVID-19 so far. We now move on to the cases of COVID-19 registered over the weekend. St. Lucia records cases 247 to 252 on 28th November. That was on Saturday. The 4 cases diagnosed on Saturday was a 39-year-old female from Castries, a 27-year-old female from Groseilliers, a 30-year-old male from Groseilliers as well, and a 26-year-old female from Castries. And on Sunday, the island recorded 5 new cases of COVID-19, an 11-year-old female from Castries, a 28-year-old female, a 4-year-old male from Castries, both of them from Castries, a 51-year-old female from Castries as well, and a 38-year-old male from the Dennery district. And all of these individuals were seen at a community respiratory facility where they were assessed and tested for COVID-19, and they were placed in quarantine by health practitioners while awaiting the return of their test results. Epidemiological links have been established for all of the 5 cases, and as per protocol, arrangements have been made for the transfer of these individuals into isolation. And this brings the total number of cases currently in care on island to 146. St. Lucia's tally for cases diagnosed in country is 257. We do hope that persons are taking this seriously. The figures should be causing us, stirring us to adhere to the protocols if we've not yet. And kudos to those who are, but there are still sections of the public, as indicated by, these figures, who are not adhering and who are not, following all of the measures as they should, or else we would not have the rate of transmission that we're seeing right now. And this has all been indicated by the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George. We do hope that you are staying in the loop. Continue to stay tuned to NTN for all of these updates that's coming out from the CMO's office, the Office of the Prime Minister, as we continue to respond to COVID-19 here on island. The GIS has been keeping St. Lucia and the rest of the world abreast as to what has been happening on island in terms of our COVID-19 response, our COVID-19 status, and our response, our fight against the coronavirus. And I can go back to as early as the tail end of February, going into March, and then April when we had the national lockdown. And we've been sort of the area, the place, the hub for major announcements being made and coming out of the government of St. Lucia. It has been consistent, and we pledge to you that we will continue to bring you the information that you need in order to make the right decisions in our fight against this virus. Stay with us. We are due for a break. When we come back, we speak to one of the actresses of the DramaCon, and I know it's a production that is part of the National Arts Festival installment, the drama installment. So stay with us. We'll let you in on what the Cultural Development Foundation is up to right after this break.
In an effort to ensure patient and first responder safety, the St. Lucia Fire Service has reviewed its patient transfer procedures, especially for patients with respiratory distress. Face masks will be provided. At no time during transportation should the face mask be removed. Please be patient and cooperative during this time to ensure you receive the best possible care while keeping our first responders safe.
Keeping hands clean is important for good health. However, after a disaster, staying clean is hard to do, especially if there is no pipe-borne water. Simple things you can do to stay clean and remain healthy are: wash your hands with soap and clean water. If these are not available, sanitizers with alcohol are options. Wash your hands many times during the day, before preparing food, eating, caring for a sick person or baby, treating a cut, wound, or sore. Wash hands after using the bathroom, changing diapers, caring for animals, caring for sick or injured persons, after handling garbage. Washing your hands is one of the best ways to prevent illness. For further information, contact the Bureau of Health Education at telephone number 468-5349.
Hi, I'm Jim Joseph, President of the Bosiju Community Group. We believe St. Lucia can win the war against the coronavirus, and here's how. Every community in St. Lucia must mobilize, coordinate, monitor and support residents the way we would before, during and after a natural disaster. Identify volunteers in your community, assign them roles, and deploy them. Ensure your elderly and vulnerable understand all protocols. Help relatives, shield them from unnecessary contact with others. Identify those recently unemployed and vulnerable neighbors living alone. Put systems in place to filter updates from official sources throughout your community. Promote the hotline number 311. If it takes a village to raise a child, then all of us can come together to defend the village against the coronavirus. Let's do it.
Together let us win this war. Said we shall be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
We are at war with the virus, ready to harm us. Panic is not the answer. We can win this together.
Often use hand sanitizer, better yet use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging are a no.
Advice give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We're back from the break with a separation from the COVID-19 news for now. We know that the National Arts Festival is ongoing outreach, and the Cultural Development Foundation is bringing the drama behind the drama to the forefront for, I believe, the first time ever in our history of drama here in St. Lucia. The production is called the Theatre Live Series, and this is the latest installment of the National Arts Festival here in St. Lucia. This production features the Gemstones theatre production as well as DramaCon. The Theatre Live Series is the second installment, as I mentioned, of Outreach. And in studio with me today is one of the actresses and the actors of the DramaCon production team. A special good day to you, Keijan Smith.
Good day to you as well.
Thank you so much for being here. I know there are many the persons have been seeing the installments, the episodes of I would call it the reality TV sort
reality
of.
TV is what it is.
Exactly, a reality TV expose of what goes on in terms of the theatre arts here in St. Lucia and these two latest plays.
Right.
Tell us about these two productions that you guys are preparing for, and what the experience has been so far for you.
Okay, so with Gemstones Theatre Group, their play is titled Give Me a Second Chance, and although we have little interaction, we can say that with their play, it's a situation, well, the synopsis goes as a story, a love story that is told based on the system. You know, when persons decide that they want to go into the world of theater, most times in our Caribbean culture, we get fought down. And so it is symbolic because what the director does is he depicts this through a love story. So there's symbolism there. With the Gopwell Rehabilitation Center, which is the production that I am participating in, we filmed, what it does is goes a little bit deeper into our St. Lucian culture. We know that a Gopwell is the Lucian term for a heartbreak. And we are all in this wellness center. We're trying to seek as much help as possible because it's something that is detrimental to all of the members of that particular center, you know, trying to get help and trying to, as much as possible, move on from that trauma, that hurt that they have experienced. So that is the little synopsis of our production. And in terms of the process, I will say that it was a very fun experience. I will say that because we had a lot of strikingly different personalities, and each day came with its fair share of struggles and troubles, but at the same time, there was improvement from the moment that we started up until the day that we filmed. We all had our troubles, we all had our days and our times where, you know, we didn't give off our best, but it was a learning process, if anything, especially for me, because the character that I played, at first, I can't say that my director was really pleased with what I was portraying, what I was giving, and I had to grow into it. So, if anything, a growing process and a learning process.
Okay, and in that process of you guys growing into your characters and so on, you were being filmed every step of the way.
Every step.
And I know that many persons are familiar with the term reality TV by now, but not something that is, you know, that we are used to here in our sweet St. Lucia.
No.
So what was that experience like, you having seen perhaps on the US networks what reality TV is like, and it coming to St. Lucia, and you being enveloped in that as well? Tell us about your experience, the experience of the other actors in terms of this reality TV series sort of thing that the CDF has brought to us for the National Arts Festival.
Okay, so when it comes to the reality TV series, I will tell you that majority of what is shown is completely authentic. And I say majority because we know that it is one thing to have a breakdown and be natural and just act, you're in the moment. So everything that's going on there is nothing scripted, is nothing forced. But at the same time, you know, when it's edited and aired on television, there are some aspects that, you know, when you look back, you say to yourself, well, the way that I'm portrayed, that's not necessarily how it happened, you know, so we're tempted to think that it is scripted or there is some unauthentic aspects, but it really is natural. It really is the very thing that happened in the moment is what is showed and what the public gets an insight to. And I feel like to a certain extent you must be strong because it's not a situation where they film your good side or they film you on your good days. It's a situation where they take everything raw and unfiltered. So there's only so much editing that you can do. But at the same time, we want to give the public, that's the point of the reality TV series. We want to give you the drama behind the drama, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything that comes with filming, everything that comes with gearing up for a production. And so, you know, when you look at the foreign reality TV series and you compare it to what we have down here, most of the times we know that what we do watch on television abroad is scripted, but I can speak for my theater experience, my experience with the reality TV series. It is 100% authentic.
So all of the tensions and all of the conflicts, all of these things are organic.
Organic.
Okay.
Organic.
So tell us a bit more about the experience of preparing for a play, because we have the reality TV aspect, but also to bring to light, it is also important to bring to light preparations for a play, learning your lines, learning to be an actor if you've not yet mastered it, you know, learning to work under a director. What has that experience been like?
Okay, so I will just give you a little bit of background on myself to be able to answer this question. I pursued theater arts at CSEC level, and I have been quite used to the whole director and actress relationship, and we know sometimes that can get a little bit ugly because directors tend to possess this controlling to a certain extent, but really passionate attitude about the product that they're trying to put out there. Ms. Danielle Dubois, who was the director for the Gopal Rehabilitation Center, was also my theater arts teacher at St. Joseph's Convent. And so I'm quite used to her directing style. I'm quite used to everything that she does, her ropes and how she goes about, you know, preparing us and stuff. So that wasn't anything difficult for me. What I would say the difficult part of all of this was the character that I played. Dama Charles, you know, and if I may just speak about her briefly, Dama is a 31-year-old woman who is in love with a married man. I am 19, and you would assume that I have no experience with something of that nature. And so when I came into the whole process and she gave me this character to play, she found that my maturity level, it wasn't cutting it. It wasn't what she wanted from me. And I found myself having to research. I found myself having to read up a lot and try to, as much as possible, fit myself into the character to be able to give off what it is my director was looking for. Because for a very long time, she was not pleased.
Okay. For persons who are watching on right now, younger than yourself, who have aspirations of becoming an actress or an actor, what advice would you give them, especially after that experience that you've had with the reality TV show, in terms of preparing for the spotlight?
I would say that first and foremost, you need to be you. You have to be authentic to yourself. Most times when you when you're in your shell, it is very hard for a director to work with what you're giving because what you're giving is not authentic. So most times you can't be placed into a certain category, you can't be given a role that you know will actually bring out your true potential. You need to be honest with yourself. And I think that the other piece of advice I would give is that even when you have owned the role, you can never stop researching, never stop looking into the character, looking into the background, trying as much as possible to fit yourself into the character. Because here's the thing with theater, you get a chance to be someone that you've never been before. I got a chance to be somebody's mistress in the play. And obviously, if this is not your reality, this is something that you're not used to. So here's where your research comes in, to be able to execute the perfect mistress, the perfect character. You have to be able to research, you have to be able to read, you have to be able to train yourself as much as possible, to become versatile, to be able to fit into somebody that you're not, so you can do an exceptional job.
Okay. What do you think how many episodes have we had so far of this show?
I think yesterday's episode was number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
What are you hoping that persons come away with in terms of us getting the backstory, the drama behind the drama? You know, typically St. Lucians come, they come to a show, they see what's happening, there's a finished product after months and months of hard work, replacing actors, things happening helter-skelter. What do you hope people can come away from with these episodes?
Okay, what I will say is it's one thing for us as St. Lucians and as the public to come to a play, sit and enjoy. And we love that as actors and cast members and crew members. But you find a lot of the time, we as St. Lucians and Caribbean people, we don't tend to take the art seriously. So one thing I would want them to take away from this is that everything that you see on camera, everything that is showcased behind the scenes is what a real human being goes through. The pressures of gearing up for a production, number one, and the constant reminder and pressures of the fact that as a society, as a culture, we downplay and we don't take as seriously the arts. So more or less that sense of empathy, to understand what we go through. We deal with people telling us that it's not a real job, it's not a real profession. Nonetheless, it's your passion. So you have to block that out, and at the same time, you're gearing up for the production. So the pressures of that itself, time is against you, fitting into character. This can be, a very difficult time, and we just want the public to see what it takes and to empathize with us. And for those parents who feel like it's not something that is worthy of pursuing, when your children do come to you and say, okay, mommy, I think I would like to pursue theater at CSEC level, it shouldn't be a situation where you shun them or you discourage them, because you know what it is, you've seen it raw and unfiltered, and you can empathize.
Okay, and you mentioned that you studied theater arts at SJC.
Yes, I did.
Tell us a bit about that. Where have you taken it so far?
So for 2 years, from Form 4 to Form 5, I studied theater arts at SJC, CSEC level. We had to work together to produce 5 SBAs, which is something that was a little hectic, stressful, during that time. But again, once the passion is there, you will go above and beyond. And it was there. And I did go above and beyond, especially with the influence that I had as my theater arts teacher, Miss Danielle Dubois. She's amazing. I pursued an associate's degree at Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. And a couple of my courses did require some performance acting, performance skills. So I had the privilege to be able to take this to a different level. Before Gopal Rehabilitation Center, my most recent project was God of Earth. This was the theater production that the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College Drama Group produced in January for Literary Night. And it's never been a situation where I started it and there was ever a big break. I think from the time I pursued it at CSEC level, I never stopped. And there's also a project that we are working on called Exclaim. It's a group of us from the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College Drama Group. We're looking to put out next year. So we will speak more about that.
So productions are getting bigger and better for you.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Now let's get to the juicy parts. Okay. What in terms of the 4 episodes that have been released, tell us what are some of the most outstanding, what are the highlights for you and some of your cast members in terms of just looking back at the finished product? Because you would have given your interviews to the producers and so on, but not sure how it would pan out. Right. So what stood out for you guys?
Well, when we are in the moment, we're all getting filmed and, we're just being our natural selves, as I mentioned before. We don't pay attention to it at all. We don't pay attention to our flaws. We don't pay attention to the way we might have said something because we're living in the moment. But after episodes 1 to 4 have aired, looking back, because we actually do have a little group chat where we communicate and stuff, it's been a situation where we find ourselves, just enjoying it, laughing. Like, really, that's what I said, or that's how they edited it to come out, or that's what she said when she went to this corner and when she left the stage. That was her attitude. And also, when each and everyone gives their interview to the producers, the rest of the cast, they're not there. So it's a chance where if someone doesn't secretly like you or if someone feels a certain way about you, whether that be positive or negative, you never get to know until you watch it and you're like, okay. So that's why she treated me X, Y, and Z and, in that manner. So it was a situation where in some aspects it was eye-opening because you are now privy to certain information. And also, it was extremely hilarious to know that we were in the moment and certain things just flew right over our heads.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sitting and just giving us an understanding of, the process behind reality TV. It's something that's definitely new to us. For those who are viewing right now who have no idea what we're talking about, we know Outreach is continuing. Tell them how they could continue to see some of the episodes and where they could go to see these episodes of the theater arts series.
Okay, so I know that every Sunday it is shown on HTS, I think.
Yes.
And normally I stream it via YouTube.
Okay.
So you can go to the CDF St. Lucia page on YouTube. Every Sunday it is put there at about 10 a.m. and then there's a countdown for the premiere. So if you are interested in watching it, streaming it in that way, you can go through that route. That's as far as it goes.
Wonderful. So Gopal Rehabilitation Center, a play by Drama Khan, and the Gimme a Second Chance, a play by Gemstone Theatre Productions.
Right.
That is the road, the reality series is the road to the concluding productions.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank you so much, Keijan, for sitting in and speaking to us. Hopefully we could get some of your other cast members to sit in and let us know what their individual experiences have been like. Thank you once again for sitting with us.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Again, to you, the viewership, thank you so much for watching. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off for now. Remember to follow Outreach. It's happening or being put on by the Cultural Development Foundation, CDF, and they're continuing with this latest installment of theater arts. I know we started with the Poetry Live series that came with high acclaim, and so we definitely know that a similar quality of work is coming with the theater arts series, with this reality television program. So please tune in every Sunday at 7 p.m. for the episodes. You can view it on the YouTube Live, Facebook, and also the HTS channel 116 and NTN on 122. That's all the time we have for now. My name is Jessie Leon, signing off. Do stay tuned for more programming here on NTN. Adhere to the protocols and keep safe out there, yeah? It's a combination of all the protocols. So it's not just the use of the mask, or not just copious amounts of hand sanitizer, or not just the 6 foot distance. It's all of them combined that will give you the best defense against COVID-19. Cheers.